Very good. Question goes to you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, I think any one of you would be better than Bob Casey for my interest and the interest in Pennsylvania. I'd like to stipulate that. And when I look at the final four that we have, the presidential candidates, it's the same standard I've been using in Philadelphia. Any one of the 4, 7, 8, however many it was, well, maybe Huntsman, would be superior to the person who's currently in the office. My standard, and one of the reasons I came here to eyeball you and see how you respond to this, is to get a sense for listeners of who can challenge Bob Casey Jr. Now, I've been around the senator a number of times, and I see what the difficulty is in challenging him. He's a very good poser. He's very good at masquerading what he really has done. We know what his voting record is. He comes across as mild-mannered. He is a friend of the president, plays basketball with the president, but he has a magical name. He has money. So my question is, I'd like to hear explicitly from you, how do you deconstruct that? How can you challenge a Bob Casey if you are nominated?
Mr. Scaringi, to you.
Well, you focus on his voting in legislative records. Senator Casey voted 98% of the time, according to the way President Obama has instructed him to vote. And like Steve Welch, Senator Casey voted for Barack Obama in 2008. Liven it up a little bit. Senator Casey voted for the bailout of those failed Wall Street investment banks. Senator Casey voted for this massive new regulations from Dodd-Frank to Obamacare. Senator Casey voted to bail out big labor. Senator Casey voted for this massive new government stimulus spending bill where we're borrowing nearly $1 trillion to protect the jobs of government workers, while millions of workers in the private sector have lost theirs. Senator Casey voted to continue funding for ACORN. Senator Casey voted to protect and continue funding for Planned Parenthood. The country is bankrupt. We can't pay our own bills, yet Senator Casey finds a couple $100 million to give to Planned Parenthood. Senator Casey voted to rescind Ronald Reagan's Mexico City rule, so now once again we have taxpayer funding for abortions overseas. Senator Casey is not pro-life. He's abandoned his father's right to life cause and mission. Senator Casey is not pro-Second Amendment. He voted to confirm Sonia Sotomayor and Elena Kagan to the United States Supreme Court, two Supreme Court justices who cannot find the Second Amendment in their version of the Constitution. This Obama-Casey agenda has bankrupted our country and is destroying our freedoms and our liberties. And the American people know it and are demanding change. Senator Casey has not led all over Pennsylvania. I've been traveling all over this great state since the fall of 2010. Everybody I meet says we haven't seen Senator Casey, we haven't heard from Senator Casey, where has he been? And that is going to hurt Senator Casey's re-election chances because Pennsylvanians are confronting the worst economic recession since the Great Recession. And lastly, I have the right message. I can communicate and deliver that message. The message is freedom and liberty and personal responsibility and restoring the constitutional republic.
And actually, anybody care to take a minute to respond?
I'll respond to that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Welch.
Well, Mark, I appreciate you giving me an opportunity to set the record straight because there is so much misinformation out there. To be crystal clear, I voted for John McCain in 2008, so that we're crystal clear on that. I was registered as a D in the primary, and I voted for what I thought was the lesser of two evils at that time. I have been a registered Republican since the time I was 18 years old. When I was 18, I stuffed envelopes for Joe Pitts, who was a congressman. I think they lived up to the values when a lot of Republicans abandoned those values. I will tell you, in 2005, I was 28 years old. I was working 100-hour weeks building my business, and I was very frustrated. I was frustrated with Republicans that had control of the House, the presidency, and the Senate, and exploded the size of government. I changed my registration out of protest, out of frustration, and let's be honest with ourselves. We lost hundreds of thousands of voters across the state because we didn't govern consistent with our principles. And the way that we're going to win those back is to go back to those voters and demonstrate that we're going to be consistent again. We're going to live within our principles of limited government, personal responsibility. And I think that I'm a good messenger to go out and do that. Somebody that can say, I strayed as well. I strayed, and it was a mistake. If I had it to do over again, trust me, I would fight like every one of you to change the party from within. But I can't do that, but I do believe in redemption. Part of redemption is you work to get rid of your mistakes, and that's why I'm working hard to get rid of my mistakes. That's why I work for Pat Toomey. I left my job to work full-time for Pat Toomey and make sure he was re-elected in 2010. Well elected.
Thank you, Mr. Welch. And Mr. Scaringi, 1 minute for you.
Steve, in 2008, you voted for Barack Obama for president, yes or no?
I voted for John McCain.
Well,